It's season 2, episode 43 of the Hall of Fame show, a show that actually is not sort of touting ourselves. We talk about Halls of Fame. That's what we do.
We do indeed. Yeah, we have we have a lot of Hall of Fames to talk about this week.
And in honor of that, I decided that the carpet would match the drapes today. My hat's matching my jersey. I got the Tokyo Giants.
Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. That's what everyone's waiting for. They've always been wondering if the carpets match the drapes with you.
Nice. I was wondering where you were going to take that. So,
yeah. This actually, believe it or not, in bad segue, but this actually, believe it or not, is the 15th anniversary of me meeting my wife.
Oh, well, happy anniversary.
Yeah. 15 years ago, 11/11/06. We will tell our children it was a charity event, but it was a bar crawl for the March of Dimes. Because there's no better way to prevent birth injuries than drinking with strangers all
day. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Before we go in, just a quick thing. Your favorite number 43?
First one comes to mind is Ally Afraidy, which is kind of weird. Who had, for those who don't remember, he was a defenseman for, I think of him mainly with the Bruins and the Sharks.
Capitals
too. He was the Caps too. That's right. Yeah. But he won the hardest slap shot competition at the skills competition, the All-Star game, a couple of times. Mm-hmm. I was thinking him as number 43, but I think Eckersley was 43 too, wasn't he?
He was Polamalu, but Afraidy for me is always going to be the king of the skullet.
Yes, absolutely. He may be the only skullet
in hockey.
The only one I could think of. They're probably more. So a skullet, for those of you who are unfamiliar, is someone who's entirely like bald on top but still has the mullet in the back.
Well, he had a little bit. It was like a giant zero on the top of his head.
Yeah.
But so. It was an interesting look that could only exist in a certain 3-year window. I think safe to say.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot to cover. Right after we convened last week, one of our favorite fun halls, and let's start off with something fun because I have a feeling we're going to close it off with something very, very topical and hot. The Toy Hall of Fame has announced their 3 winners or 3 inductees into their hall. I think we joked last time who should be, we just said this off the cuff, who we thought should be the actual presenters. Oh, that doesn't exist, but for those wondering, the first one is Sand. I don't remember who we picked for that as the presenter.
I don't either. I think Hasselhoff. Is there anyone better than Hasselhoff for Sand?
No, I like that. So David Hasselhoff should have accepted on behalf of Sand.
So and just by the way, again, this is incomplete. This is just my own internet research. I don't have all the nominees from several years here, but this is Sand's, as far as I know, second nomination. So
another one is, and I know nothing about this, American Girl doll.
Yeah, that's a big deal. We have a huge American Girl doll store downtown in Miracle Mile in Chicago.
Okay.
There's backstories to all these girls. There's a lot of lore and world building that goes into American Girl dolls. And everything is freaking expensive as heck.
I think we said a Kardashian should accept on their behalf.
Yeah, probably. Although the Kardashians seem like they should more accept on behalf of the Bratz dolls if they ever get in. American Girl doll should more be like if we can get Reese Witherspoon to be Cher from Clueless. Like that's who I think should be more accepting from.
You mean Alicia Silverstone?
Oh, Alicia Silverstone. No, I confused Reese Witherspoon with Legally Blonde. So her Legally Blonde character and Alicia Silverstone's Cher character together.
And Stacey, no Stacey Dash.
Oh, we can do Stacey Dash too. You need.
But she's not doing anything other than
people who look like they ride horses for fun, like in an old British way, and then get all dressed up afterwards. So whatever movie characters you can think of who might do that, that's where you want to go with this.
All right, that sounds good. And Risk, which I said General Mark Milley should do that, but I've now changed that to Colonel Mustard.
Ooh.
Martin Mull's still alive.
He is. So is Colonel Milley. Again, graduate of Winchester High School in Winchester, Massachusetts, where I went. That'd be good. They're making a Risk television program.
They are.
Hasbro is going out of the way. I'll see if I can find more about it. But their Hasbro is and Parker Brothers and everything are trying to do whatever they can to get as much out of their games as they can. Hold on, Risk cartoon.
It can't be worse than Battleship the movie.
You'd think, but who knows?
Yeah.
There are a whole bunch of them. Risk board game cartoon, because it's coming out.
Oh, it's a cartoon. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a cartoon. But
Teaching
anyway,
new generation all about Yakutsk.
Oh, I was more Irkutsk guy to Yakutsk, but I mean, Kamchatka is really the place you have to worry about more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
My strategy, in case you ever play Risk, is you take over Australia and just hold Siam until everyone beats the crap out of each other, and then take over from there.
It's very similar to my Axis and Allies strategy. I always want to be Russia and never attack anybody.
Mm-hmm. Just let everyone come to you.
Yeah, and just infantry, just buy infantry like crazy. It's a lot of losses at the beginning, and then eventually you just overtake everybody.
Yeah. Well, the difference between Risk and Axis and Allies, for those who aren't as dorky as us, is Risk takes about 3 hours. Axis and Ally takes about 3 days.
About that, yeah.
And then Diplomacy takes like 3 weeks. If you've ever played that one.
I've never played that. I don't even know what that is.
That's in the Toy Hall or the Games Hall of Fame. Diplomacy.
Okay.
The game the Kennedys used to play. It's right before World War I Europe. So you play England, France, Italy, Germany, Austria, Hungary, Turkey, and Russia.
That sounds right up my alley.
Yeah.
So yeah, congratulations to the new toys, these inanimate objects, but we congratulate you anyway.
They may be inanimate objects, but they move our hearts and stir our souls.
And sometimes they get elected. And that you could take that joke any way you want, which is perfect.
It could be referring to anybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we'll leave that wide open. We have something that we want to promote that's already up on YouTube and on the website. Last week, Evan and myself joined. We had a lot of other people join us and we talked about this, our mock Pro Football Hall of Fame committee. So thank you to all of you who participated and those who couldn't participate but sent their votes in anyway. We're probably going to have hopefully a bigger group for when we go down to the finalists. But Evan, do you have the list of those who we've selected?
I do. I have everything in front of me here. And I just want to say this. It was a long process because we had to get from 123 or 100 whatever people down to 20. We're supposed to be 25 and it being 26. So the next one should hopefully be a little less long because we only have 26 to get to 15.
26 plus whatever, because we're going to count.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It's 30
because my guess is we have 4 or 5 of our 26 who are not going to end up on the 25 list for the NFL.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had a big debate over everything. We ended up electing to our group. Advancing. I'm sorry. You'll end up advancing. I'll start on the defensive side of the ball for once. We have defensive end Jared Allen, defensive end / defensive tackle Richard Seymour, defensive tackle Kevin Williams, linebackers Cornelius Bennett, DeMarcus Ware, Pat Swilling, Patrick Willis, Sam Mills, Zach Thomas, and Willie McGinnis, who's kind of both linebacker, defensive end there, depending on what part of his career he was. From the back of the group, we had Charles Tillman and Rondé Barber at the corners, Leroy Butler and Rodney Harrison at the safeties. On offense, we had one quarterback, not the one I expected. It was Donovan McNabb. One running back in Sean Alexander. No tight ends. 5 wide receivers in Andre Johnson, Anquan Bolden, Henry Ellard, Reggie Wayne, and Torrey Holt. 4 offensive linemen in Richmond Webb, Steve Wisniewski, Tony Baselli, and Willie Anderson, and 1 special teamer in Steve Tasker.
Mhm. I think because one of the ones looking back, so again, because this is all on video, so you can actually video or on podcast, however you want to take a look at this or listen. But one thing that sort of stood out to me is Devin Hester's not there. I expect, I'm sure you do also. You're getting to kind of know your patterns here. I think you think Hester will probably be one of the nominees or the semifinalists.
I think it'll be a semifinalist. I think the other name, so everyone voted for, what was it, 15 originally? No, 25. We
25.
voted for 25 originally, and then count the number of votes and then sandwich and people at the top we put in, then we debated people at the bottom, worked our way in. So the person who got the most votes out of our group who did not get to the final 25, who I actually expect to be in the final 25, I think is Steve Smith. So Steve Smith got 9 out of the, is it 13? How many people voted overall?
We had 15 votes, but we had 12 that began the group.
All right.
No, sorry, it was 13. It was 13. Sorry.
You had 13 votes. So Steve Smith got 9 out of 13 and did not make it in. Jeff Saturday and Devin Hester got 7. Ricky Waters, Heinz Ward, and Darren Woodson got 5. And they didn't get in. Everybody else who got 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, we had no 8 votes. 7, 6, or 5 all were elected. The 3 who had the furthest to come to get there were Cornelius Bennett, got 3 out of 13 votes and managed to get in. Peanut Tillman had 2 out of 13 votes and managed to get in. And the biggest riser out of this whole group, Willie McGinnis, only had 1 of the 13 votes and still managed to make it all the way to the final 26. So,
and that's what I think I really love about this the most. This is something that we were all just this great civil conversation with a lot of football oriented people who just really care about this stuff. And it was so much fun to do this. I'm looking forward to watching this grow, but I think if I've got a takeaway on a negative side, we definitely need to get some people from different fan bases. It was very apparent because one person who was not able to make it, Jack Silverstein, who participated last year, who just brings this great perspective, not just for his hometown team, the Bears, but just overall. Hopefully, I'm sure he's going to be in for the next one. But there's a lot of these. We were even saying because we started bashing Heinz Ward, all of us. So Steeler Nation, if someone wants to come in, we welcome you. It's
just don't debate Heinz Ward. He's, like I said, he's maybe my least favorite NFL player of all time. So.
But I mean, just having Tom Hall there, with that diehard Broncos perspective.
Correct.
And I think just with the amount of games that we have and just the complexity of football, we aren't watching every single game. We can't. And that's really the case for all sports, but with football, it's just so different than it is in any other team sport. It just is. So
100%.
Yeah. And just having all these varying perspectives from different regions, from different perspectives. We still need a woman for this group at some point.
100%.
Yeah. So hopefully,
we had 2 Patriots fans for the first time. I think it was the first time we had 2 fans of the same team.
You could tell them by the hat.
Yeah, that is true. We have the same hat.
Dan Kelly, thank you, Dan, for being a part of that.
Yeah, he was great. And I have to say, there was a lot of pushing, and Dan did a good job pushing for Patriots. When 2 of them, Harrison and McGinnis, got on this list here. But I really feel like once he made his point, because I didn't push that hard for either of them. But once he made his point, people are like, yeah, kind of, they went along with it. So I will say that Steve Smith, according to the measurement the Hall of Fame monitor uses, is the 6th best person on this list out of all 123 of them, and he didn't make it. I think that has more function to do of all the wide receivers who are here more than anything else.
Right.
So, and people liked Anquan Bolden and Henry Ellard more than Steve Smith, at least in Smith's first year.
And based on our very, very limited calculation, Hey, Torrey Holt, if you're listening, apparently you're a lock.
Yeah, he's only got 13 out of 13.
Yeah.
So,
Which would
and
not have been
Reggie Wayne got 12 out of 13. I can guarantee you, without even looking and knowing the data, I know who did not vote for him. So that was Jack. Jack hates Reggie Wayne. Can't stand him as a candidate. So
right. So nothing personal. I guess our real meat today is the Baseball Hall of Fame, which has announced, because we've got 20 candidates to go through. And just a bit of self-promotion here. Yesterday, I had the pleasure of speaking with oh God, I just blanked on his first name. Jordan, sorry. Jordan Dunlap, who has this great series on YouTube. You can follow him on J Dunlap TV. And it's actually, I wore the same jersey for that thing because he does a series on Negro League jerseys.
okay.
And so we were discussing some of the Negro League people who are now on this ballot for the Hall of Fame, which has been a giant change in the past. So I'll look for that coming up soon. It's a really enjoyable conversation, and give his YouTube channel a look. I think it's worth your time. So we've got two groups, the early baseball era, which they've now combined that with looking back at the old Negro League players who were in their own category before. So we've got 10 of those. 7 of the Negro League happen to be from Negro League players, and 3 from Major League Baseball. So I guess we'll just go through them, and then maybe we could just, if there's any kind of visceral response, please do. So Bill Dolan, who is a sabermetric darling, and if you're, I would imagine that anyone who on the voting thing, if they're into sabermetrics, they're going to be voting for this guy.
Yeah.
John, I keep wanting to say Josh, because Jay's fan, right? John Donaldson. From the Negro Leagues. It's believed that he had over 400 home runs. Oh, sorry, wow. No, sorry, record. I'm thinking of someone else. That he had over 400 wins.
Okay, yeah, I thought he was a pitcher. So,
yeah, I have to slide my window here a little bit better. So there's another slugger that we're going to be talking about. Yeah, so a record of 413 and 161, over an ERA of 1.37, just absolutely sick numbers. One of those people who we can just imagine what he would have been able to do in the majors. No reason to think that it wouldn't have been almost as good, if not better, possibly, but just didn't get that opportunity. And such a shame.
Kennesaw Mountain Landis is one of the most quality individuals of the world. So.
Bud Fowler, and I think this is probably going to be the person who's going to have the hardest time, only because his career began in the late 1800s.
Yeah, but he's probably the first ever African-American professional baseball player.
It is, but I don't know that he's on anyone's radar, and there's so little written about him. It's going to be a tougher road, I think. That's just my gut instinct. I don't know what they're thinking. Vic Harris, lifetime batting average of 305 and a longtime manager. So just another really, really good career.
Not to be confused with the Vic Harris who was a utility baseball player for the Rangers, Cubs, and Cardinals in late in the 70s. Different one, just so we know.
Very impressive that you had all that.
He also played, I believe, for the Giants and Brewers, the utility player Vic Harris. So,
Grant Home Run Johnson,
good name,
isn't it? Wasn't able to find exactly his estimated home run total, but 30 years of organized baseball, a slugger in an era where there weren't really people doing that. So another one who might sort of face, it's weird to say it. I said this to Jordan. It's weird to say that we're looking at 10 people who are long since passed away, except for Buck O'Neill. And there's going to be a recency bias.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. This one personally surprised me. Lefty O'Doul.
Yeah. If I know that we talk in like other halls of fame about how important international play is and everything,
Mhm.
Lefty O'Doul is probably as important to the development of that jersey that you're wearing right now
Mhm.
as anybody from the United States going over there and helping Japan set up their leagues and everything else. So from an international play of things, I don't know how much that's going to play on anything. He's a very interesting candidate.
That's probably why he might be on this ballot, because when I expanded the non-Hall of Fame baseball list to 300, O'Doul didn't make the cut.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's a real interesting career. He kind of reminds me of Roy Hobbs without sort of the tragic accident in the beginning of the movie. Just only he was a pitcher that just couldn't make it and just went into and became like a hitting superstar at age 31. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And won 2 batting titles, batting average lifetime 340, so like really good, but it's a tough one for me. Someone who was on my elevator up that I just mentioned, Buck O'Neill, and I don't see how he doesn't get 16 out of 16.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the biggest oversights in the hall. When they did the whole, I don't remember how long ago, the African American Negro Leagues committee that they put Buck O'Neill in charge of and then didn't elect him was
That probably
absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, maybe not, but yeah, he was very, 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 very worthy. Yeah, long overdue. Unfortunately, he's been gone since 2006, but very overdue for trying. Yeah, it seems like it isn't, but it's 2006.
Okay, I thought it was less than that. The other interesting.
We're just old.
I think the most interesting thing to me, which is why for something like this, where I can see him as a lock, if you look at everything he accomplished as a player, you can look stat wise and just accomplishment wise and say, okay, well, maybe that's why he isn't. But now we're talking about, when you look at these veteran committees, they're looking at a broader scope, hence like a Lefty O'Doul.
Mm-hmm.
So the broader scope now paints the fact that here's the first African American coach. Here's someone who was a walking, living history of the Negro Leagues for years. He was your go-to guy, like this living historian, a great guy that by every account, you don't read anything remotely bad about this man.
No, 100% no.
Yeah. So with this parameter, I just don't see how he doesn't get in. If he doesn't get in by again unanimous, there's something wrong. If I can find out who it was who didn't vote for him.
They don't like going unanimous on the 19th ballot.
Oh man. So yeah. I guess moving on. Dick Cannonball Redding.
Allegedly the fastest pitcher in the history of the Negro Leagues in terms of velocity.
Yeah. Obviously there wasn't a radar gun back then, but I think if you're standing up there, you know who's fastest. You know who you're scared of the most. An interesting one, sort of the opposite of Bill Dolan, someone who the Sabermaticians will never vote for, the Super Chief, Ali Reynolds.
Yeah. 6-time All-Star, 6-time World Series champ, 2-time AL strikeout leader.
Kind of the Jack Morris of his day, only without the bad commentary. Although back then, maybe they all would have kicked out women in the locker room.
Maybe. Also a Muskogee Indian, which there aren't that many of those in Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. But yeah, I pitched for the Indians and Yankees. Scott is he's in Monument Park for the Yankees. He's an interesting candidate. I think if Buck O'Neill weren't on this list, it's entirely possible Ali Reynolds at least probably has the most name recognition.
I'd agree.
I would say on this list. As much as you want to say Lefty O'Doul, Ali Reynolds, I would say it's a second best known player. So I mean, who knows if that's going to carry him or not. So.
And George Tubby Scales, infielder, pitcher, another individual from what I can deduce, a 25-year playing career, also a manager.
Yep, career 321 hitter. in the Negro Leagues.
Yeah. So I mean, like, there's really. I'll ask you the same thing I asked Jordan. If you can pick 4, if you've got your ballot.
Well, I'm picking O'Neill. I mean, it's so hard with the other ones. I mean, hitting 321 over 25 seasons is pretty darn impressive. So I think I'd probably vote for Tubby Scales. I mean, Bill Dolan probably, and I'm not sure who the 4th one would be. It could be any one of them. I'll go with Home Run Johnson.
Yeah, that's pretty much my 4, except for I swap out Johnson for Donaldson.
Fair.
Yeah, and I do hope. I feel like I'm going to sound like our good friend Vinny Laspinuso. I'm hoping for a large group here.
I'm hoping for at least 2.
Yeah.
At least 2 would be good.
Yeah.
So Buck O'Neill and somebody.
Definitely. So then we move on to the Golden Days Era nominee committee, which I think
too many people have died from very recently.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, kind of, this should have happened last year, and it didn't because they couldn't. Yeah, because unlike us, they couldn't figure out how to work Zoom.
It is difficult.
Yeah, I honestly think they were scared of anything they say getting out. I really do.
Well, I mean, the Major League Baseball has a long history of being able to keep secrets. So,
like the NFL, we'll get to that later.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that.
Oh yes. So first on the list is
the late great, should have been elected last year, Dick
Allen.
Allen.
Been elected before on the regular.
Yeah, but I mean, at least last year before he passed away, last year he was finally inducted into the Phillies Ring of Honor, and during the summer. Was that last year or was 2 years ago? He's inducted.
No, I think it was like trying to lead into it. Or was they retired his number, right?
They retired his number, right?
Yeah. So it's something that all this stuff should have happened. Dick Allen, former MVP. If you just say, well, it's only 351 home runs in that era, that's pretty goddamn good.
Yeah. I mean, it's the dead ball era.
Yeah. Man, it's criminal. But it'd be even more criminal if they pass him over again. But we'll see what happens there. And this is another loaded group.
This group is like, oh wait, these guys aren't in, a lot of them.
Exactly. Ken Boyer, another former MVP, 6-time All-Star, World Series champion. And a lot of time when we talk about how someone's won a World Series, he won that in the same year he won the MVP. So like he was a huge part of that. Gil Hodges, someone who I'm actually a big, well, I'm not a fan of because I didn't see him play, obviously, but someone whose candidacy I'm very strong for. Sometimes I think the word that gets misplaced a lot is fame. Gil Hodges was a big part of putting asses in seats in Brooklyn.
And he's always been sort of you must be better than Gil Hodges to get in the Hall of Fame. He's almost been like the park ride. Like Gil Hodges is a guy, but if Gil Hodges isn't in, how can we put X person in? He's just always kind of been the weird measuring stick for who gets in the Hall of Fame and who doesn't. It's been very, very strange. So
yeah, so that's one I'm pretty big on. One I'm not. Jim Cott.
He's at least still alive.
He is still alive. 283 wins, 2,471 strikeouts. I mean, very Burt Blyleven-ish to me.
Although he has, how many Gold Gloves does he have?
He has 16. But when I did my whole deep dive and all that, there's like the last 5 he had no business winning.
All right, so he only deserved 11. I mean, that's still got to count for something.
I think it does, but there's that big compiler thing with him. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem if he got in either. I don't want to take anything away from him, but I just don't have any passion for this candidate.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, 283 wins in the modern era stands out like anything. Just how many, I know, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We're going to get to a point where Jim Cott having 883 wins is going to be like Frank Gore being third on the all-time rushing list.
Frank Gore, who now just signed on the undercard of the.
He's going to get his ass.
Oh my God, yes. Absolutely.
Like, if there's one person in the last 20 years in the NBA who I would not want to box against, it's Deron Williams, who has been boxing since he was 5 and is bigger than Frank Gore.
It's, oh God. I mean, Frank Gore hasn't officially retired from the NFL yet. I think Darren Williams is gonna take care of that.
He's going to retire him, because we were talking about this with because Adrian Peterson came back. He's running for the Titans.
Yeah.
So now he's off the people who are going to be in the class of 2026, which helps Gore. Honestly, helps his candidacy. The best thing you can do for the Hall of Fame right now is not play, and by boxing, that's probably what he's going to get. So
let's go on a side here for like a 30 seconds on Gore, or maybe a minute. What scares me with this fight is, because I agree with you, 1,000% Gore is going to get destroyed. If he gets knocked out, just obliterated, he's going to be more known for that than being number 2 all time, or number 2 or number 3. Number 2, right?
Number 3. He's
number
3.
3. He's going to be more known for that than any touchdown he ever scored, because he doesn't have that.
Because he doesn't have very many memorable moments in the NFL. He was just around for a long period of time. It's like when we talked about Morton Anderson.
Yeah.
Not Morton Anderson. Gary Anderson. Excuse me.
Well, Gary Anderson's. Oh yeah. He's going to be known for that one.
Gary Anderson's most known for missing a kick for the 15-1 Vikings, right? In 1998. Like, that's his biggest thing. Bill Buchner has 2,500 career hits, but you don't remember, or 2,700 career hits, I believe, actually. You don't remember any of them because you remember one moment. So, like, Frank Gore doesn't even have a bad moment. Like, Ernest Biner was on our list of people we just looked at. Ernest Biner, doesn't matter what he did the rest of his career, that fumble killed him, right? There's not even that with Gore. There's not a good or a bad. There's just an existence.
Mark Sanchez is more known for running into his center than he is for winning a Heisman.
That is absolutely true. And Vince Wilfork created that, by the way. Again, I'd like to put that out. He didn't make our 26. That was all Vince Wilfork. But yeah, no. I know that was a weird aside. I just thought, by the way, in the last 20 years, I should also include the Morris brothers. Marcus and Markeith. And I know that, and probably the Doncic and his brothers. I wouldn't want to be fighting them either. Or Charles Oakley. There we go. That's actually probably the last person I'd want to fight.
And I can segue moments with our next candidate.
Ooh, go ahead.
Roger Maris.
Yes.
Now we know Roger Maris is. He's also a 2-time MVP. People don't remember that he won this. That was his second MVP, because he was the MVP in 1960. And Roger Maris, he's the only one that we can talk about who had a movie made about him in that chase.
Barry Pepper,
yes. Yeah. This is someone who I'm also very big on for that. Again, that keyword fame. And we're not talking about a middle of the road player. We're talking about someone who was the most feared slugger for a couple years, and he was more famous at one point for a lot of people hating him just because he wasn't Mickey Mantle. How shitty is that?
It was more that he broke Babe Ruth's record, right?
Well, yeah, but I think they could have handled it if Mantle did it.
Oh, so yeah, that's right. He broke Babe Ruth's record while not being Mickey Mantle.
That's
understood.
Yeah. So,
and Maris is an interesting case. Just by the way, I have all these guys up. They all died at 51 for some reason. Ken Boyer, Roger Maris, like a whole bunch of these guys died at 51. That's
not 61 with an asterisk, huh?
No. 51 is the new 61. So I don't know. Anyway,
2 years away from that. That's not very promising. Oh well. Middle six. Minnie Minoso, another one I like a lot.
A Cuban Comet.
Yeah,
The Ernie Banks of the White Sox.
absolutely. Absolutely. And again, he's almost also defined by other. I don't know that these are the best moments. Maybe that he became a gimmick, that they're going to bring him out to bat in 1976 when he was his 50s at that point.
76. He was 51. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then again in 1980, like that. Yeah. It's.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if I was a White Sox fan at that time, I would have loved it. I don't even hate it now, but it's not what I want him to be known for. Just look up what this guy is, and
yeah, and to be honest, the White Sox at that point were wearing shorts as their uniforms. They were in an embarrassing time. So having Manny Manoah so bad as a 51-year-old is one of the least problematic things going on with the White Sox.
That is true.
Point. And they're still owned by Charlie Comiskey. Another of those guys we should be ejecting from the hall. So
here's someone I think who has the least amount of chances. Danny Murtaugh, manager.
I feel like more people are gonna think it's a Danny Glover character. I'm too old for this shit.
I knew one of us was gonna do it. Yeah. And Tony Oliva, who is another very interesting one.
Hold on. Just back to Murtaugh. He did manage the Pirates to 2 world championships over a 29-year association with the team. So
he did. But Cito Gaston gets no love.
That's also true. That's also kind of weird. They need a manager committee or whatever for baseball too at some point.
Or something.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how Cito gets nothing. I mean, he was also the hitting coach for that team as they were getting better. That's also the team that I don't know if I'm sure it's been done by others, but was 93. They had their players bat in number 1, 2, and 3 in batting average.
Wow.
Olerud, Alomar Molitor. I don't remember which one was second or third between Alomar and Molitor, but
it was always sad because Olerud was one of 7 players before he on the Red Sox got injured and had a rehab stint. But and when for most of his career, he was one of 7 players in Major League history who had never played a single game in minor leagues. Went directly into the majors.
Very few.
And then he had a rehab start, and I was very sad. I didn't feel like that should have counted. If you're rehabbing, that shouldn't count as like being in the minor leagues. But yeah, that was for the first 14 years of his career. It went directly from the draft to the majors, which was kind of amazing. And Ricky Henderson forgot they were teammates. So
that's the best. That is the best story. Yeah, when they were teammates with the Yankees, Ricky comes up to him and says,
"Because they had been teammates with the Red Sox."
No, the Jays.
They were also teammates on the Red Sox.
They were?
Yeah.
Wait, Ricky Henderson was with the Red Sox?
Yes.
I don't even remember that. Holy crap.
So anyway, yeah. So they were teammates multiple times. And he's like, "Oh, I used to play with a guy who wore a batting helmet all the time." And it was Oliver.
Yeah, that was me. No. Ricky don't remember that.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So we're done with Danny Murtaugh.
Tony Oliva, who is, man, what a hitter. And it just, injuries just sort of took away what could have been a Hall of Fame walk, really.
Yeah. Career 304 hitter, all with the Twins. Only 220 home runs probably doesn't help. 947 RBI doesn't help.
Yeah.
But yeah, a heck of a player.
Yeah. Billy Pierce, an interesting one to see here on this list. I don't think he's going to get any love here, but a 7-time All-Star, 211 wins. Good, very, very good player.
Agreed. Yeah, but again, it comes down to Cat or Pierce. It just people who aren't thinking that hard. You have just 273 versus 211.
Yeah. I mean, and as much as I feel like I dumped on Cat, I have him higher than Pierce significantly. And Maury Wills, who was the Ricky Henderson of his day. We mean the way he played, not necessarily for just being an eccentric individual. 586 stolen bases. Like that was pretty impressive at that time. I mean, I know
that was a lot.
Yeah, I know it's like it's not for like what used to happen in the Ty Cobb era, but still,
Right.
there were a lot of players were doing that.
I mean, it was Wills, Brock, and then Henderson. Basically, was
exactly, and a former MVP.
Yep,
So,
and 2,100 career hits as well. So it wasn't just a guy who came in just to run.
And a champion.
And a champion. Yep.
Yeah, 3.
So, yeah. So this is a tough list. So am I voting for 4 again?
Yeah, same question.
All right. I'm Dick Allen, and Dick Allen. No. So Dick Allen, I'll take Maury Wills. I'll go. I'm not that excited about either of the pitchers here. So, because I was looking for that, I'll go Dick Allen, Maury Wills, Gil Hodges, and do I want Maris or Minoso? We have enough Yankees. Let's go Mini Minoso.
Okay. Mine's Maris, Minoso, Hodges, Dick Allen.
Fair enough. So you're switching out Wills for Maris. I'd be happy if either of those guys got in. Not a big deal.
And same thing. It'd be nice to see at least 2 from this.
Mm-hmm.
It's if that happens, I mean, it'd be a really loaded. I mean, I might have to go to Cooperstown for that.
Have you ever been to Cooperstown?
Nah, never been.
It's cool. I've been there a couple times. It's a cool place. It really is.
Never been. I have to at some point, but who knows? We might be moving soon, so that might be close.
I was surprised how many baseball card stores there were there. It was very strange.
Last place you'd think.
Yeah, I know. Very weird.
So yeah, that's the main Hall of Fame news. If you came for Kirk Shitbox, which is where I just rant about something, we've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
The Shitbox, the toilet bowl's closed this week.
All right. We unfortunately have a few too many people have passed away this week.
I'll have a comment on one of them. I'll see if you can guess which one it is.
All right. Well, let's start in NASCAR. Del McCowart passed away at the age of 80. Ran only 21 races over 11 years, but was pretty much known more for his personality. He was kind of called the clown prince of racing. So he's like one of those guys who everybody liked to go along with. But he passed away at the age of 80. I don't have a reason that he passed. We have Olympic bronze medalist in women's basketball, Medina Dixon, passed away. One of the best women ever to come out of Boston. Was a captain of the Old Dominion University women's team back when Old Dominion was a really big deal in college basketball. Won a gold with the women's team in the FIBA World Championships, bronzes at Pan American and Olympic Games. She was only 59 when she passed the pancreatic cancer earlier this week. From the world of, get to that. From the world of bodybuilding, Sean Roden passed away. He was Mr. Olympia in 2018. The oldest man ever to become Mr. Olympia. He was 41 at the time. I'm sorry, he was 43 at the time. He passed the age of 46. What do you think he passed of?
Enlarged heart.
He had a heart attack. Yeah. So he broke the record of Phil Heath had been 7-time defending Mr. Olympia when Sean won just 3 years ago. So very, very sad. 46 is too young.
Well, it is, but man, the human body is only meant to be so much.
Yeah.
And there's just certain things that it maybe limits you're not supposed to hit. I can't say that.
I mean, you knew what he died of. Like I brought it up. You knew exactly what he passed away.
I didn't know he died.
We're not surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you weren't surprised. So
no.
From the world of sports writing, Ed Lucas passed away, who covered mostly the Yankees, but he actually lost his sight playing baseball the day that Bobby Thompson hit the shot heard around the world. He was playing baseball with his friends, pitching, and a live drive came and hit him right in the face and caused him to be blind for the rest of his life. But he was a sports writer, and they did a whole thing on him. The Bleacher Boys, which was a documentary about blind baseball fans. They did something on him in ESPN back in 2018. But kind of one of those people who made it in a career entirely against the odds. Like, how do you report on a sport if you can't see it? Right.
I don't know, but umpires do it all the time.
You don't use your report on it.
Well, yeah, after I told that, I realized I kind of missed that whole.
Yeah, but Angel Hernandez is still employed, and Laz Diaz, and Joe West is now retired. So we're only down to 2 idiots.
We found a new one, but anyway.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Different sport. But yeah, Ed Lucas passed away. He was 82. Let's see here. From the world of baseball, unfortunately, we lost Pedro Feliciano passed away.
Yeah, that was
the age of 45. They basically pitched every day from 2002 to 2004. They called him Perpetual Pedro. He had, I want to see how many I didn't see how many appearances he had. He had 92 appearances
once.
Yeah, he had 92 appearances in 2010 and pitched 459 games with the Mets, which is still a Mets record. He only played for them for 8 years. So he pitched 459 times as a reliever in 8 years.
Mostly all middle relief, if I remember correctly.
Almost all middle relief, yeah.
I mean, like, not a great pitcher, not a terrible pitcher, but just good enough.
Yep.
Those spots. I mean, I'm not trying to.
Yeah, I mean, 333 average, earned run average for his career. So, but yeah, 45 is far, far too young to die. He had died of probably a left ventricular non-compaction, which is a genetic heart condition. He probably died from a rupture of the heart condition. So, although that has not yet been determined. From hockey, Charlie Burns passed away, who represented, he won a gold in the World Championships with Canada back in 1958, played for the Red Wings, Bruins, Oakland Seals, Penguins, and Minnesota North Stars. He was 85. We lost from the world of both professional football and professional wrestling. Angelo Mosca passed away. He played mostly in the Canadian Football League with Hamilton Tiger Cats, Ottawa Rough Riders, stuff like that, as a defensive tackle. Won the Grey Cup 5 times in 1960, 63, 65, 67, and 72. A member of the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. And then brought into wrestling in the Canadian divisions out of Montreal in the late 70s and into the early 80s. Well, I guess he was a heel mostly. I started in Montreal and ended up in Toronto. So do you have any memories?
Yeah, that's actually the one I was going to talk quite a bit about. So growing up in Burlington, Ontario, that's like right next to Hamilton. And like his career ended, I believe, around when I was born. But Mosca was that Hamilton icon. So I was trying to think like of any type of American equivalent, and I was really struggling to come up with that, or just like from like a hardworking city where just somebody just embodies that city. And that's what Mosca really was for Hamilton, and he was very well known throughout Canada. And for like going back to things that he gets known for, right? Also, he dated my aunt.
What?
Yeah. He dated my aunt. My Aunt Mary dated him, so she tells me. She told me that he wanted to marry I don't know how accurate that was, but when he was promoting a show called Mosca Mania, she asked me if I wanted to go. So I guess maybe they were still, I don't have a clue.
Hey, I think I've told you, my mom used to double date with her friend with Boog Powell and Brooks Robinson.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
In Chicago. So,
yeah. So
but anyway, continue.
Yeah. So I can't stress what a big deal he was for the city of Hamilton. And not so much Canada in general, but I think I heard in another obituary that he was voted the 31st best player in Canadian football history. That was like back in a time when he probably could have went NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And because there was a lot of players, it's hard to believe now, but a lot of players would they play in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Because the money difference wasn't that much. He went there first because of eligibility, because Canada didn't care as much. And I learned that he was, due to gambling, he got kicked off Notre Dame.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I just learned that recently myself. Sadly, again, you talk about notoriety, what he became known for late in life. Did you see that viral thing with him and the quarterback Joe Koff?
No.
Okay, so it was in a Grey Cup weekend, and the two of them had beef with each other, stemming from a dirty hit that Mosca did a long time ago. Because he was also known as one of the dirtiest players in football. But as with a lot of dirty players, they become pretty goddamn popular, with fans and
right. All right.
Yeah. So at this point, Mosca was already he was kind of immobile. I mean, football, wrestling, overweight, because he was already using a cane at this point. So they were getting into some kind of verbal jab. Mosca gets pissed off, takes his cane and pokes Koff with it. Koff, who's not immobile, decks Mosca. And I don't know if that inspired the movie, but it definitely inspired a scene in the film Grudge Match. If you saw that one with De Niro and Stallone.
I have not seen that one, but
okay.
I know what scene you're talking about.
Okay, yeah. So I'm sure it had to inspire that, because this happened before. I don't know if it inspired the movie or not. Probably not, but
probably not. But yeah.
And sure enough, in every obituary I only looked at 3, but that was mentioned in all 3. And it's not how I'm going to remember. I'm going to remember for my aunt saying, "Oh yeah, he used to chase me around." And she's a bit of an embellisher, so I don't know how true a lot of that was, but
my mother is as well. So who knows again how true it is on the other.
Yeah.
So. But my mom's not a baseball person, so the fact she knew who, I understand her knowing who Brooks Robinson is. The fact she knew who Boog Powell is probably means she knew Boog Powell, because she would not have just come up with that name.
Oh, yeah, but if you meet someone and say, "Hi, my name's Boog," you're going to remember that no matter what.
I mean, who doesn't remember Boof Bonzer?
I don't even know who that is.
Oh, you don't remember Boof Bonzer, the pitcher for the Twins and the Red Sox?
I do not.
Oh,
he's no Stubby Clapp.
Stubby Clapp, yes. Yeah. Rusty Kuntz. Sorry. Dick
Man,
Cole.
can you imagine if that guy was like that's got to be the worst thing. You become a super. Here's a segue. Who is probably the best player that lost out on jersey sales because of their last name?
Well, I remember the NFL at one point banned certain words in the back of jerseys, one of which was the word gay, until the Patriots' Randall Gay played in the league, and then they couldn't ban it anymore.
There's Rudy Gay.
There's Rudy Gay, right. But I mean, the Randall Gay played before Rudy Gay. Yeah, that was a thing. Rudy Gay was trying to ban bad words in the back of jerseys. And that was one of the ones they weren't going to allow until there was actually a player with that last name. But I don't know. Who do you have in mind for the worst?
Rudy Gay.
Oh, Rudy Gay?
He was a pretty good player.
True.
At some point.
I don't know. I feel like Chris Blewett, the kicker right now, has a tough name.
How is that? Yeah, okay, but because he was going to get so many jersey sales to begin with.
I know. I'm just saying, of all like the worst names you could have for like Longwell is like the best kicker name, and Blewett has got to be the worst. Yeah, it's like the guy who used to pitch for the Rays, the reliever Grant Balfour.
I remember, yeah. Oh, yeah.
His name was Grant Balfour. Like, he's not getting any borderline strike calls.
Yeah, that's one I'll have to come back to. There's got to be a few that just like I'm not putting that on my back.
Yeah, I understand. So,
Yeah. But anyway, I interrupted because that was one I figured that.
Yeah. So Angela Mosca passed away at the age of 84, probably from complications from Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
He had sued the WWE because he had CTE, with a whole bunch of other people. I know. I'm just saying he did.
Yeah.
So the case was dismissed in 2018.
A case that had zero chance.
Yeah, I'm not saying it didn't, but anyway, from
can I say one thing on that?
Yeah, please.
All right. I won't say who, but I know someone who told me they only joined it just well, maybe I'll get paid.
Yeah.
And I didn't think there was anything to it at all, but they weren't going to miss a chance for a payday.
Well, if money's there, and I mean, who do you feel bad for? The players who had the injuries, even if they weren't so bad, or the owners who don't? I don't have any problem with the players trying to pay the owners money.
The NFL is a totally different thing. In pro wrestling, you're suing.
Oh, wrestling. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you're suing one promoter.
Got it.
Who basically you have to essentially prove that they were not cognizant of all that stuff. The NFL had a word, and Vince McMahon took blows to the head with chairs. It's gonna be a pretty hard one to sort of prove, but yeah, and that's sort of like why I wasn't necessarily taking a shot at the wrestlers, just at the lawsuit in general, because like that had no chance in hell.
Got it. Okay, I know that was wrestling and football. We're going back to football here. Mike Pitts passed away.
I missed that.
What?
I missed that. I didn't know he died.
Yeah, number 16 pick of the 83 draft. All-American defensive tackle out of Alabama. Played for the Falcons, Eagles, and Patriots. He passed away. He was only 61 when he passed. I don't have a reason.
Too young.
Yeah. Also passing away is Clyde Emmerich, former Olympic weightlifter, but also better known as the longtime strength coach for the Chicago Bears, a member of the Chicagoland Sports Hall of Fame. The Bears actually named their weight room after him. He's a member of the USA Weightlifting Hall of Fame, USA Strength and Conditioning Coaches Hall of Fame, and the Illinois State Weightlifting Hall of Fame. He was a national champion for the U.S. in 52, 56, 57, and 59, set 2 world records during his careers. Member of the 52 Olympic team, won the silver medal in the World Championships of 55, bronze in the World Championships of 54, won the gold in Pan American Games in 59. But he passed away at the age of 90. So, longtime defensive coach John Marshall passed away. He was 76. He was probably best known as being the defensive coordinator of the Steve Mariucci 49ers. Also was on with Marty Mornwig, among others. He passed away probably of complications from prostate cancer. So, and I guess the biggest name in football who passed away was Roger Zatkoff. Passed away, member of the Packers and Lions. Two-time first-team All-Pro in 54 and 55, 3-time Pro Bowler, 54, 55, and 56. Passed away at the age 90. He was defensive back on some pretty good Packers and Lions teams back in the day. So that was our biggest name out of there. Now, everybody else we have left is interesting one reason or another. I will say Richard Kayanka, who founded Something Awful, one of the big companies that really built the internet, passed away at only the age of 45.
I remember that website.
Yeah, he committed suicide earlier this week.
I hate to say it. Doesn't that seem like something that somebody created Something Awful with? And I'm not trying to be facetious.
Yeah, I know. I understand what you're saying. I agree. So, but he passed away at the age of 45. Of course, we'll go to music first, but well, let me guess what this way. FW de Klerk passed away today, by the way. Have you ever heard of the Mandela effect?
I know I've heard that name, but I don't know what it is.
So Mandela effect is like a mass delusion that people have on things that like this, the line, say it again, Sam, or play it again, Sam from Casablanca never actually happens, but everybody thinks it's there. So, but the Mandela effect originally is because a whole bunch of people thought that Nelson Mandela died 20 years before he did. They had a memory that he died in prison, right? Even though it was false, but there's millions of people around the world who have a shared memory of Nelson Mandela dying in prison, despite the fact he was president of South Africa after that, right? Mm-hmm. I felt like F.W. de Klerk was the last apartheid prime minister or president of South Africa. And I have to say the headline writers today had the Mandela effect in their minds that he was a willing participant in the transfer of power and in the ending of apartheid. He had to be dragged, kicking and screaming. To his credit, he at least went with it, but he passed away at the age of 85. But all the headlines there were just like, he who partnered with Nelson Mandela, and that was not historically what happened. Yeah, New York Times needs some better headline writers.
There's a lot I could say about them, but I won't.
Yeah. Dean Stockwell passed away too.
Yeah. He took that final leap home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ziggy from Quan Louis. I also always remember him. Do you remember Air Force One?
With the Get Off My Plane?
Get Off My Plane, right. And Glenn Close was the vice president. Dean Stockwell was the secretary of defense, and constantly trying to convince Glenn Close that the president was dead and that she needed to be president. And he like went around and getting the signatures of all the cabinet members for her to take over the government and everything. He was just so like strangely adamant that the president needed to be dead in that. I always thought it was kind of weird. But he passed away at the age of 85. Or is he also big on Battlestar Galactica, of course. So
that's right. Yeah. He did get his Oscar nomination, I think, for Married to the Mob, if I'm right.
Possibly. Let me see here.
Which is like one of those ones I thought that was sort of weird at the time, but
yeah, I mean, he was Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Like a really good career.
Yeah, just like everything. He's just in a lot of different things. He was like, and his guest spots on shows is just like everything. Streets of San Francisco, Columbo, Ellery Queen, Cannon, McCloud, Police Story, Simon & Simon, Heart to Heart, The A-Team. Like, if there was an action show from the 70s to early 80s, Dean Stockwell had a role in it. So, all right, one other person I want to bring up who's probably not somebody you ever gonna hear of, but Aaron Feuerstein passed away. And he's a Massachusetts legend. I just want to bring him up quickly. One of the greatest guys. He owned a company called Malden Mills, which makes a lot of fleece. And Malden Mills burnt to the ground. His entire factory burnt to the ground December 11th of 1995. He used the insurance money he had to rebuild it, but he also paid the full salaries of all of his employees out of that insurance money while it was being rebuilt. Like just one of those stories of like, so I'm a third generation owner. These people have been with me for generations. I'm not abandoning them just because they're not going to have something bad happen to them because something bad happened to me. One of the truly class moves anyone has ever made in anything. He was 70 at that point. He passed away at the age of 95 earlier this week.
That's a great story.
Yeah, I want to shout out to Aaron Feuerstein who passed away.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we finally get to music. Declan Mulligan passed away, singer-songwriter, best known as a guitarist of the rock band, the Beau Brummels. Yeah, he passed away at the age of 83. We lost Ernest Wilson, who was a founder of the very influential ska band, the Caledonians. They had ska and rocksteady in that era. He passed away at the age of 69. More importantly, I guess, in the ska way of things, Astro from UB40 passed away.
Red wine, you make me feel so fine.
Who wrote that song originally?
Is that not Neil Diamond?
It is Neil Diamond, correct. Yeah. So his nickname comes because he used to wear Doc Marten boots with the model name Astronaut all the time when he was a kid. And so people started calling him Astro. But yeah, he was with the band on vocals and percussion from like 1979 through 2015. Like just one of the big important guys in the history of that band. So he passed away at the age of, he was 64.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, today, passing away, Graham Edge passed away, the co-founder and drummer of the Moody Blues.
Oh.
So he passed away at the age of 80. So he, along with Denny Lane and Clint Warwick and Mike Pinder and Ray Thomas, founded the group. Just many ways of driving forces of the group. He passed away from cancer. He was diagnosed with cancer in July and passed away in November. So that's probably the biggest name who passed away this week in terms of what we do. Godspeed, Graham Edge.
Mm-hmm. Before we go to the next thing, I just want to do something that I thought was like super, super cool. I don't watch Masked Singer. I know you do.
I do, indeed.
You probably know where I'm going with this. So one of the latest reveals was Johnny Rotten.
Yeah. Just by the way, I would like to point out that their guesses were so terrible. He said that he'd been married for 45 years to his wife, and they were guessing people who were like 40 and 50 years old. I'm like, he's not been married for 45 years. But yeah, Johnny Rotten was there. First of all, the fact Johnny Rotten was married for 45 years puts a whole lot different light on the fact that like Sid Vicious and Sid and Nancy versus Johnny Rotten. Who would have thought he married Johnny Rotten and he got 45 years out of it? And now she's dying of Alzheimer's.
Yeah, and that's why he did it. And I just want to sort of shout that out as you know, and regular people who listen to this. Alzheimer's is sort of like near and dear to my heart, with my mom suffering from that. And he went on that show, I mean, which seems like the least punk rock thing to do, but he did this because he wanted to put a smile on his wife's face. And
yeah.
And if that's not like one of the most awesome things ever, it probably just went like, I don't give a shit what you think of me. I'm going on this because I love my wife. And
honestly, yeah, hats off. Honestly, I thought he could have been eliminated after he was the last wild card to come in. I thought he could have been eliminated last time he performed. This time he performed and he picked a song which was freaking weird. The performance.
What did he pick? I mean, I just read the thing today, so
the performance was super weird and like a song nobody had ever heard of.
What was it?
And everything like that. I can't even tell you what the song was. I didn't know it. It sounded somewhere between like an English folk song and a weird country song. I don't know, but it's one of his wife's favorite songs. And so he knew he was probably getting eliminated last night because they were cutting two people. There was no way the other three who were there were great. The two who survived were significantly better singers than he was. But like he just did a song that he knew his wife would love, that it was their song. And she's got Alzheimer's. He's her number one caretaker. And yeah, good for him.
That's, you know, when my mom, this is going where I didn't think it would, but was still sort of cognizant of things. So like he would just leave. My dad would just, when they were watching TV, you know, would just only have shows that could not get her upset. You know, so it'd be like Hallmark Channel almost all day, and then like shows like this, like I think Masked Singer sort of started before. I'm not really sure, but they would like Dancing with the Stars, like a bunch of stuff that he would not ever watch on his own. Just things that, you know, for that. So I mean, like I can totally see that. So I guess that one just really got to me. Just something I wanted to bring up, which I let's move on.
Yeah, well, good on your dad. I know you have a bit of a complicated relationship with him, but it's good on him.
Don't we all?
Yeah, well, so
yeah. But so moving on. So we have two regular segments left. definitely want to leave yours for last because I think we're going to be going pretty deep into a lot of that. So mine's going to be brief with elevator up, elevator down, where I look at the past week and say, hey, who's done something I think over the past week that has really sort of helped their chances. One's a pretty obvious one, and that's just in UFC. Rose Namajunas, who successfully defended her title in another classic against Zhang Weili. Great contest. Everyone loves Thug Rose. There's just nothing about her to dislike, and she can fight, and she won in a completely different type of fashion. It's the UFC Hall of Fame will definitely be calling her at some point. Also, a mild elevator up that I just thought of now. Bryce Harper just won the Hank Aaron Award, and that's given every year. A lot of people don't pay enough attention to this award, but it's given to the best offensive player in each league. And Bryce won that one. He really had a great second half. I know that there's sometimes a little bit of flack for him because like the Nats won right after he left, but baseball's a weird thing, man. And I don't have to tell you that.
I mean, the Braves won this year, and that Braves team was not particularly that great. No offense to a team that just won the World Series. No, that was not an all-time team.
No, their best player went down in late July in Acuna. So it just, right thing, right time. A team of destiny, somewhat. So those are my two elevator ups. Elevator down, Dalvin Cook, who just got accused of rape. Obviously we don't know what happened. He just said, well, the truth's going to come out soon. And hopefully, well, I hope two things. Hope this didn't happen and that what he said is true. And that if it did happen, he gets what's coming to him.
So can I piggyback on your elevator down here?
Sure, please.
Do you think Adam Schefter is trying to get fired?
Did he do something today that I missed?
He reported on the Dalvin Cook thing.
Okay.
By taking a direct quote from Dalvin Cook's lawyers. He's the one who released it to the world without even talking about the fact that Dalvin Cook was whatever. And he had to come out and apologize that he didn't get more than one source on this. He basically, and we know from the leak with the Washington football team that he's run stories by ownership for their approval on things. Like I don't feel like he's been having a particularly good few weeks here. And the fact that he is still didn't learn anything from the Washington league, because there's rumors out there he's trying to get involved with some of these gambling sites to be like the main guy there and get paid a whole bunch more, but he's stuck in this ESPN contract. I don't know what's going on with him, but he keeps putting things out there that are not corroborated or not properly followed up. These are rookie things that someone like him should not be doing.
Well, if that's what it looks like, that's usually the way I always sort of look at almost anything. Whatever it looks most likely is probably it.
Yeah, maybe. Sorry, one more potential elevator up. I just want to know what you think on this. And this is very, very early in his career. He's only in his fourth year. Have you been seeing what Cooper Kupp is doing this year?
I have.
He has, I believe, and these are off the top of my head, so if I'm off a little bit, I'm sorry, but he has 10 touchdowns, 76 receptions, and like 900 and something yards receiving through 9 games at this point, which is insane. The only other player in the history of the league who did that, can you guess?
Through 9 games. It always gets Jerry Rice first, but that's probably
1990 Jerry Rice.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's Jerry Rice and Cooper Kupp. Like if he has an all-time, again, he has to be healthy and everything else. And they just picked up Odell Beckham. So who knows if that's going to make any sort of dent in the number of targets he sees. I don't think so particularly. I do think it's funny that Odell went to a team to be the 4th receiver when the 4th receiver just left because he wasn't getting enough targets. He went to the Raiders.
I feel like this would be bigger news 3 years ago.
Oh, agreed. I absolutely agree. Yeah, there's all the rumors that the Patriots are bringing Odell in. And meanwhile, we brought in 3 punters for tryouts today, which is probably what Belichick would be much happier doing anyway. But yeah, if Cooper Kupp has an all-time, like if he somehow passes Rice's record or just has like one of the 2 or 3 best receiving seasons of all time, he goes from, and he has to keep it up, but he goes from Julian Edelman level to a whole nother level up because he's a white slot receiver. He's the Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, Brandon Stokely type guy, right? And if he can leap up a level, because now he's getting most of his catches from outside. He also has 400 receiving yards after the catch this year, which is crazy.
Also, they're a favorite to win it all, right?
They are. Yep.
As it stands. And I almost was tempted to just say, well, maybe Odell's an elevator up. It's like, I don't know that he's going to do that much. I really don't.
I don't know. But Cooper Kupp is an interesting one.
TJ Watt's another one, because you sent me a message.
Watt's another one.
Like who you think sort of like with the half season. Like I would have said Derrick Henry like a week ago.
Yeah, well, I still think Derrick Henry. I mean, what he did during that 50-game period is basically unprecedented. I think Derrick Henry, if Derrick Henry retired today, I don't care what his numbers are, people are probably going to put him in the Hall of Fame.
Ooh, I don't know.
He's the most dominant runner during his era. There's no one else.
Yeah, he's still the leading rusher. Probably still will be next week too. At the end of
crazy. Like there's no one like Derrick Henry out there. If again, he didn't win stuff like Terrell Davis and everyone else, but there's precedent for short career spans for running backs. He was just so much more dominant in everyone else's era. And I'm talking past tense. He can be back next year just fine.
Let's hope.
But let's hope. Right. So I was just wondering, there are a few people. Myles Garrett, I think, helped himself out a lot so far this year. Stafford's helped himself out a ton.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Like
that whole thing, because he's going to end up top 5 minimum in passing yards when he's done.
Sean
McVay's helped. Cliff Kingsbury's helped himself. Like there are a bunch of people who have helped themselves quite a bit during this time period. So it's just been interesting.
Josh
and then
Allen.
there are guys like Travis Kelce looks done.
Yeah, Kansas. But yeah, I guess I guess just to close off with Dalvin, I think if this is all bullshit, that's the worst part too. Because like once you get that, when somebody accuses you of that, that's pretty goddamn hard to escape. Like I don't know if you're accused of being a racist or a rapist. And if you're not. It's the hardest thing to shake.
Well, I mean, something happened somewhere because he's accusing her of breaking into his house and assaulting him by spraying mace in his face and attacking whoever he was with. So something happened somewhere. I don't know who's telling the truth, but you don't come up with that as like something that happened unless something actually happened. It could be a counter to whatever actually happened, but something did occur. We just don't know what it is.
Right.
So.
But at this point, I mean, if anyone saying, well, he shouldn't be playing right now. I mean, right at this point, no. I mean, like he should still be allowed to do what he's doing with what we know at this stage. It's not a Deshaun Watson where we've got like, granted, he's not playing. He's getting paid to do nothing. There's a sweet gig.
Hey, it worked for Caleb Haney for years. So Caleb Haney, I think, has made like $55 million and thrown like a ridiculous small number of passes in his career. So anyway,
I do have one more elevator down, which I want your take on. A bit of a departure, but from what I would normally say, but I'm going to go with Travis Scott.
Yeah, I don't know how
this affects, and I'm talking like for Rock Hall. I mean, like Travis Scott's
I'm not sure Travis Scott had the musical cachet with people. He was even people in their 20s were like he was for teeny boppers. You know what I mean?
Sure, but it's also somebody, but you don't know how someone's going to evolve.
That is true.
And here we have someone who, and I don't want to say directly responsible, but I mean, this is your festival, and there are decades upon decades of knowledge and of knowing how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, okay, the people were killed, the Rolling Stones thing in Altamont. All right, that was also in the infancy of a lot of these festivals too. Whoever he's hiring to sort of like do this, and he also has that. He's also twice told people to been charged with at concerts telling people to rush security. So this is probably the worst guy for this to happen to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what this is going to do for his future. Probably it's probably not going to hurt him at all, frankly. But
yeah, it also didn't help him though with all the videos coming out of Kirk Cobain and Dave Grohl and Travis Bedingfield and I'm trying to remember who else I saw stopping concerts because of shit they saw going on. And that video of the girl who came up the side on the ladder and said, "Stop the concert. There are dead people down there. Stop the concert." Mm-hmm. And the videographer's just like basically told her to go away. Like that's not going to help either.
And a ninth person passed away as we're today on the day that we're recording this. He didn't exactly have the best apology video. Let's put this in a black and white filter so everyone knows I'm serious. And I don't know his state of mind. Obviously, I'm not going to. He's going to get sued, and he should.
Well, he and Live Nation have both already been the subject of lawsuits.
And at this stage, whoever's advising him, but it's still the buck stops with him.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Kardashians are advising him, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, they figured there's another bunch of people who figured out how to make a lot out of nothing. So,
there's a girl on Dancing with the Stars right now. I don't watch Dancing with the Stars. My wife does. Uh-huh. I understand there's a girl on there who is Lori Loughlin's kid who she tried to bribe USC to get her in. I'm like, oh my God, this is
one. I'll never understand the popularity of that damn show because I know I'm getting older, man. But every time I don't watch the show, but every time they announce it, I want to play a game with myself. How many of these people have I heard of?
Yeah.
And it's usually around half. And I'm thinking, okay, am I this out of touch? No, it's the kids who are out of touch. Call back to this.
Yeah. So anyway, well, good elevator up, a good elevator down.
Yeah.
Should we go to the good, the bad, and the ugly?
So I know two of the things, but I don't know what your good is.
So I'm going to go actually the good. I'm going to go to the Edmonton Oilers and Boston Bruins this evening.
I've been watching all in the background. So
yeah. So there was a player named Colby Cave who passed away in 2010. In 2010, he had a brain lesion that they removed, and then there's internal bleeding. Ended up dying at the age of 25. Mm-hmm. Cave was an undrafted player. Started his career 5 years in the Bruins system. Scored his first goal against the Canadiens. They waived him to send him down the minors, and the Edmonton Oilers claimed him. And so he played his entire career between the two teams. With COVID last year, there's no way to honor him. So Edmonton's first game in Boston, or first time either of them played each other, was in Boston this evening. They had his widow out there. They had all the players come out. She dropped the puck. They did a whole thing on him. Draisaitl and Bergeron both played with Cave, big hugs and everything. It was really, really well done for a player who didn't have a long career, but worked his ass off to get there and had a big impact on a lot of people. I just thought it was really, really well done by two teams who could have, honestly just forgotten it. You know what I mean?
Easily.
It was April of last year, like or May of last year when he passed away. Mm-hmm. Like there was a lot of other stuff going on, but the first opportunity they had, they announced it 2 days ago. They did it today, right before it was a real nice ceremony. Good on the Oilers, good on the Bruins. Well done.
And for the right reason too, like not because you're trying to like get a PR stunt, Washington football team, and eliminate some stink that's around your organization. This was it's these little things that we forget how much good there is in all this and all of these things in all the sports and why we watch it in the first place. And that there's so many great people involved, and that includes executives.
Yeah, there's some decent executives too. I mean, we've had a run on bad executives. Bob Murray has entered alcohol rehab for the GM for the Ducks this week. Like we've had a whole bunch of a run on negative things happening, but there are still good people out there. And
I'm going to look this as a positive because like Carey Price just did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're also at a time now where they would have ignored it. Or sorry, we're in a time where they're not ignoring it anymore, and it's okay. Like, hey, you got a problem?
Let's take care of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at that more of it as a positive than anything else. I'm trying because we got. I know what's coming. We got some negative shit going on. I don't know whether it's. I don't know whether our headlining quarterback is bad or ugly.
Next. He's next.
He's bad. Okay.
He's bad. So our bad is going to be whoever is the PR advisor for Aaron Rodgers. Here's all I think you need to know about Aaron Rodgers. Do you know where the first leak of his stuff went to out of his camp?
The first leak of like where
of information as to what was going on and everything out of his camp.
I don't.
The place that only Aaron Rodgers had ever leaked something to in all of professional sports.
Jeopardy?
People magazine.
Oh. Man, so he went to People. I didn't realize that. So he went to People magazine to say that I got.
Yeah, the whole leak came there. He is.
I didn't know that. That's stupid.
He is not a nice person.
I've heard that a lot.
Let's just start there. Like, I remember, again, my wife watches The Bachelor and Bachelorette. I used to watch it more
I'm with her on that one.
Yeah, I used to watch it more with her. I've just given up. I can't deal with any of these people. But there was a time that Aaron Rodgers' brother, Jordan, was on there.
I remember that.
And I thought it was weird at the time that Jordan just never talked to Aaron. Like, they had no sort of relationship. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird, whatever. But it just seems like he's a dick. He just seems like he's an asshole. And this whole thing with the NFL finding him $14,000 and finding CeeDee Lamb $20,000 for having his uniform untucked on the same day. And it just, he just like, I did enjoy well, if the vaccines work, why do you still have COVID? To which Jimmy Kimmel responded, or if the vaccines are so good, why do you still have COVID? To which Jimmy Kimmel responded, yeah, if you're such a good quarterback, how come the Packers haven't made the Super Bowl? Or someone else responded, yeah, if helmets work so well, why do we still have concussions?
I like that one better.
I like that one much better. I just like the individual take from Jimmy Kimmel. Because again, I'm a Patriots fan, which means I'm a Brady stan. And the idea that anyone thinks Aaron Rodgers is better than Tom Brady is hilarious to me.
That is hilarious to me also.
Packers fans.
Yeah.
Between the Packers fans thinking that and the Chiefs fans thinking they're in the middle of a dynasty, I know what to tell you guys. But no, Aaron Rodgers has handled everything super duper badly. And maybe it's because he knows that Jordan Love is not good at his job and there's no real threat there. But I told you at the beginning of the season, I thought this was Aaron Rodgers last year. Did I not?
Yeah, you did.
I called that. I think it is. I think he's going to walk away at the end of this year.
Aaron Rodgers' reputation has taken a pounding. I do want to sort of like rebut some of the attacks on him.
Fair enough. Yeah, please.
And it's God, I hate talking political shit these days because I think I've told you, like, I listen to it, but I don't get obsessed with it anymore because it just was affecting my mental health, honestly. And a lot of people are coming out and saying, well, like he's lying to his teammates. Like, okay, first off, I'm positive most of his teammates probably knew that he was
I agree with that.
unvaccinated. So like that,
he certainly lied to the media, but I don't say that,
media.
That's not a direct line to his teammates.
Right. And it's not, I think here's a big group that's complicit is the National Football League. And specifically something I read in USA Today last week as I was, prepping for this. Here we go. This was 8 days ago. For the 2-week period from October 3rd to 16th, in the span of which most recent data is available, excuse me, 94.1% of the NFL players are vaccinated. Where do they get that number? So clearly they know who is and who isn't.
Oh, I know. I there's no question they know who is and who isn't.
Right.
So does NHL. So does MLB. They all know.
But I think a lot of people think that Rodgers is pulling the big, giant, fast one over everyone.
Oh, no. Yeah, no.
And he's not. And
that's
really where I wanted to go with that. So it's not like they couldn't have done stuff before when he was doing things without a microphone, with no mask in front of a microphone, which you can't do. So they knew, and they just let him get away with it. And
that's why the team got fined $300,000.
Sure, absolutely. But at the same time, why didn't they fine them before?
Oh, because they're not the Patriots.
Well, exactly. It's like they're again, protect the shield, like you always say, protect your stars.
Again, unless you're Tom Brady.
Unless you're Tom Brady. Yeah. Maybe Goodell saw an email that where Brady called it.
Well, I mean, what it all comes down to, Goodell's an idiot to all the media, all the fans thinks Goodell's an idiot unless he goes after the Patriots.
I honestly think that if John Gruden didn't have an email where he trashed Goodell, we don't know about any of this.
We don't know anything about it. Yeah,
I truly believe that. There's no doubt in my mind. Thou shalt not insult Goodell bot.
Oh, sorry. Just completely aside for a second. Did you see there was something making the rounds today? Gordon Eads brought it up. Jim Brown talking about how the person he respects most in football is. Do you know who that he came up with? Bill Belichick. And the reason he brought up Bill Belichick is he's done more. Brown works with all incarcerated people, trying to get them back on his feet and everything. He said no one has spent more time, money, donating in time, everything in all the NFL than Bill Belichick. He's just done it quietly.
Okay. Awesome.
He goes to Jim Brown's house and meets with convicts and tries to help. It was really interesting. Out of nowhere today that Gordon Eads found this interview with Jim Brown. So
cool. I didn't know that, but that sounds exactly like Belichick.
It does sound like Belichick. As Republican as people think he is, that sounds exactly like something he would do.
But Republicans does not equal shithead.
No, but it doesn't usually equal rehabilitating prisoners either.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But
that's what I meant. That's why I meant more than anything.
I know, but I mean, like,
yeah.
I can see why. Not that I'm excusing it, because I don't excuse this at all. I've said on the show before, I'm at the point now I really don't give a shit what anyone does with vaccinations. I'm done. I'm fully vaccinated and did so as soon as I could. If people don't want to, okay.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to make you.
But if you make that decision, you can't then come out and talk about how oppressed you are for making that decision.
Exactly.
That's the thing that Rodgers did in that interview, was he just made himself out to be this big victim and like you made a decision, dude. Right? There's actually today. So San Francisco fired 41 cops who didn't abide by the vaccine mandate that they had.
And I'm sure that's going to end well. One
of them, they were terminated the 1st of November. One of them was diagnosed the 2nd of November and died today.
Of COVID?
Of COVID. And they're doing a GoFundMe trying to raise money for him. And that's the thing that gets me. If you are going to go for it, and his wife rushed him to the MT and rushed him to the hospital, if you're not going to believe in science for this stuff, don't believe in science altogether.
I will say, do you believe him when he says that he is allergic to something from it?
No,
Yeah, I don't either. But
100%. I don't.
It's
Do
possible.
you know what the percentage of people like? Think of all the things he gets shot into his body on a weekly basis just to play.
Yeah.
You tell me,
Other rumors are true. Other things he gets shot into his body.
also possible, but I mean, just think of.
Yeah.
I mean, all these people are like chowing down on hamburgers at McDonald's and worried what's in a vaccine. I'll tell you what's in a hamburger is going to kill you a lot faster. So
Yeah.
Anyway, so but regardless, he didn't have a good week. It's his PR
No.
person. That I didn't make him ugly. I just thought it was bad for him.
I
don't
almost
think it's
used him as an elevator down, but I figured this was going to be
It doesn't matter
a
at this
topic.
point. It makes no difference.
Okay, but he's now once a bunch of people start calling you an asshole, other asshole stories come. Like, look at what Sammy Sosa. I mean, a really, really good player. I think Rodgers has a better career than Sosa,
Of course.
but Sosa was really, really good.
But Sosa has the drug use and the corking of the bat.
Right. But at one point he was loved.
No, yeah. I mean, 1998 is 100% Sosa McGuire, and neither of them are getting anywhere near the Hall.
Sure.
Despite
But
the fact that their managers will all get in. So
okay, McGuire got forgiven somewhat because McGuire's not a bad guy, from what we've understood. I mean, he did what a lot of other people were doing, blah 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 blah. But we've delved into that. Rodgers, you can scour the internet for weird stories about him since the time he got even into the NFL. Social awkwardness between him and Favre. And say what we want about Brett Favre owned that locker room.
he did.
You know, like he might.
He also said he also said he wasn't there to mentor Rodgers when he got there. So
he also didn't like Rodgers. Apparently, a lot of people didn't.
Fair enough.
So, like you brought up earlier, so like there's some weird shit around this guy to the point where it wouldn't. This is just me throwing a theory out there. Wouldn't surprise me if somehow these relationships he's had with Olivia Munn and Danica Patrick were kind of worked.
You broke up there. You're there. What?
Engineered.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Either for image rehab. I mean, at some point, like, how did he get I always thought it was, you're the Jeopardy guy, former third place finisher on Jeopardy.
Bronze medalist, I prefer.
Yeah, I know. I never even made it. But I don't think I think he would have destroyed me anyway had we both gone head to head. But anyway, Rodgers to me was an interesting choice as a potential host. So if he's doing that at this point in time, I mean, I don't know that he did necessarily bad or good I don't know.
He was fine.
He was fine. Okay.
I mean, he wasn't great. He wasn't terrible. He was fine.
Right. So he's already trying to transition into something. So he's looking beyond that. So I'm wondering, which goes back to the choice he made. You know politically how this is going to go, because one of the things he did say in that interview, or I think with the Pat McAfee, and he's bang on right on this one here. Let me just bring that up. 1,000%. Where is it? Okay. The right is going to champion me and the left is going to cancel me. I don't give a shit about either of them. Politics is a total sham. I'm not going on Fox News, just like I'm not going on CNN. And he's right.
Fair enough. No, I'm not going to nail him on that point either.
And I think with that, he just didn't want to get into a whole political thing, which I can respect. And what he said was going to happen is exactly what happened. And I'm sure when he's got people like I don't even know if Tucker Carlson would go on promoting him. I'm sure he did. I know he did with Nicki Minaj. I'm sure Nicki didn't like that, but Nicki's going to do what Nicki wants to do. And you got to respect that to a certain point. Not the choice I would have made, but a choice made nevertheless. This just is not going to age well. And it's the wrong type. And why I say this could delay him a bit, because it's the wrong type of people for him who are going to be against him. Now he's going to get politicized whether he wanted to or not, which he knew would happen. And then I look at that line. I mean, like, Jesus, when you look at, you could take Colin Kaepernick, replace that with Aaron Rodgers, flip a couple words, and it's the exact same thing.
Yeah. And the people who are championing one are against the other, right? Regardless of which we're looking at it.
Right. And I don't want to go in and on Kaepernick. I'm done.
Yeah, we're not going to, we've done that enough.
No.
So anyway, so this is developing. I don't think it's the worst thing that happened this week, but I don't think it was a good look either. So that's why I put it in the bag.
Yeah. And this will be an ongoing story, especially if the Packers don't do well in the playoffs, presuming they're going to go in the playoffs.
I think the Packers are the third and maybe fourth best team in the NFC. I think Tampa's better than they are, and I think the Rams are better than they are.
Kind of makes you wonder why he choked in week 1, right? Maybe he's worried something's going to leak.
Who knows? But I feel like the Packers are good, but I feel like those two teams are better. And I don't think that what's working the Packers' favor is that the Bears and Lions are not good, and the Rams and Buccaneers divisions are significantly more challenging.
Before we segue into the ugly, you and I have a couple bets here on who was going to have the worst record. If the Lions have the worst record, is this a push?
It's a push, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was who's going to have the number 1 seed. What division was the number 1 seed? I took the NFC East, and you took the AFC South, I think.
Yeah. I'm
feeling pretty good, by the way, about my Patriots winning the AFC East.
Really?
I'm telling you that right now. I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Okay. Well,
they're 5-4. I think worst case scenario, they go 10-7. And if they can beat the Bills once, they're 11-6. And I think that'll be enough to win the division.
My quarterback's Trevor Siemian. I don't feel pretty good about the.
He didn't play badly last week, to be honest.
No, he didn't, but he's not going to.
I understand, but he didn't play badly last week. So actually, when the Saints decided to go with Siemian, I didn't think that Cam Newton was going to end up anywhere. I thought he was going to be out for the year. But the Patriots did Newton a solid and knocked Darnold out for the year.
That's actually would have been a good elevator up also.
Yeah. Cam. Cam Newton shoulder is not great.
No.
But he is a great locker room guy. He is a very good, exceptional runner. He leads a huddle. Like, if he can get that shoulder right, he's great. Like, I was surprised the Patriots cut him. I understand why they did. I think that Cam was right on the money with that they didn't want the distraction of the other guy hanging over Mac Jones' shoulder this whole year. And they had Hoyer as the backup.
Also, Cam was unvaccinated at the time.
Also true.
So
who knows if that had anything to do with it?
Well, I mean, it also does add to that whole distraction shit, right?
That's also true.
That's all Rodgers is now right now to a lot of people. He's the unvaccinated asshole.
Yeah.
And
so
once you become that distraction, man, Packers this week will be very interesting. But we should move on to the.
We should move on. I just, again, Patriots fan. I'm happy Mac Jones is my quarterback this year. I'm happy Cam Newton has a job somewhere else.
I am too. Although Cam Newton's killed my team so many times.
Hey, he's your division now. We don't have to worry about playing.
You know how I feel right now? Like it's like when a lot of people back in the late 80s who were older and they said, tear down the Berlin Wall. And then Germany got back together. It's like, oh shit. Maybe this might not turn well.
Yeah. Anyway.
I thought that was a good analogy, but all right. Not all gems. I thought that was a gem.
So,
the ugly.
All right. So the ugly.
Oh, this is
this is going to be a twofer because they're related.
Okay.
The Monday Night Football game this week had two massive problems with it. One is just an overarching problem, which is that the taunting rule is stupid as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
The new taunting rule, if there's one thing we do not want in sports, particularly in the NFL, it's the more gray areas for referees to have to interpret live. right? Like the joke is we still don't know how to catch it. I feel like we're better at that now, but like honestly, we brought this before. The biggest play of Megatron's career is the thing that was a touchdown that wasn't a touchdown because he put it down too soon.
Yep.
Right. That's probably the biggest play of his career. I hate saying it, but that is probably it. Right. Like there are too many judgment calls as it is. Like, I mean, Judon for the Patriots gets held around the neck like every single freaking play, and they call 1 out of 4 as holding, right? Like, and I'm not just saying that. I happen to know that because people have been on Patriots Twitter have been isolating the photos of it and everything.
And every NFL team can probably point out to someone.
Exactly. Yeah. Every NFL team can point the same thing. I wouldn't even imagine what happens with TJ Watt. Like TJ Watt's got to be even worse. JJ's got to be worse. Like all these guys, it's just not. There are too many judgments as is, but this judgment is dumb. Like if you do it's one thing if you're like directly pointing to someone like this, and this is even dumber because I'm having to defend Cassius Marsh, who's one of the real shitheads in football. Like just as a dude, he's a journeyman. He's a journeyman shithead.
Is he okay? Okay. What do you know about him that I don't know?
Oh, he was with the Patriots, and he like every team he's with picks him up and then gets rid of him as fast as they can, and he burns every bridge he possibly can. So understand, I'm defending Cassius Marsh here, who I do not appreciate defending. But Marsh had last played with the Steelers, got cut by the Steelers. He's a journeyman guy, makes an incredibly important play in a game, takes 5 steps towards the other team's bench, does not gesticulate. As far as we could tell, doesn't actually say anything. He just stares at the other team's bench from 30 yards away, 20 yards away. And Correnti, who's the other problem, the other part of the ugly here, Tony Correnti reaches and decides at that point he's going to call him for taunting with 3 minutes left in the game, the other team punting, giving them the first down. Like, this is something Tim Donaghy would have been proud of.
Well done.
Like, it's a absolutely game-changing play when they've had a couple of them. And the low block that cost the touchdown, where not only did he not hit the guy at all, but it was inside the tackle box, because you can't hit him outside the tight ends. You can't hit him outside the tight ends low. A, he didn't hit him, and B, if he did, he was in the tackle box. And they lost the touchdown to a 15-yard penalty on that. And they got a field goal, so they lost 4 points in the game. They lost by 2. Right? Like, the taunting rule is ridiculous, but Correnti, as Marsh is running by him, sticks his butt out to create contact.
You did. I mean, it's undisputable.
What the fuck? And what the NFL say?
But that's when he broke the flag out.
Yeah, he threw the flag for taunting because I don't think he could call it for touching the official or whatever. But like, the NFL came out and defended both actions, defended the taunting call and defended Correnti running into him intentionally.
Well, they didn't acknowledge that he ran into him.
They did fine. Tacitly, they accepted that it was an okay thing for him to do. Boomer Esiason was on saying that Correnti's entire crew should be suspended for 2 weeks.
Yeah, or something. Or again, it's also too when I went back and watched the replay of that, they give the commentators, they're just trying to keep up because they don't know what the hell's going on. Correct. And these are also people, expert commentators, who have people in their ears trying to figure this out. And they were all befuddled. None of them had a clue what the hell was going on, because there wasn't like in the main video of just him bumping into him. Yeah. Or like from the lot, when you're watching that live, like the whole thing is like taunting is the taunt. Yeah, that's a weird thing. Again, it's so subjective. I mean, I think we know if you sort of like if you're tackling someone, you get them down and you're just jaw jacking them for a good like 5 seconds after. Okay, you're taunting, and I get the mindset of why they want to do this, because a lot of scrums happen usually late in a game after someone's shit talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what they're trying to avoid at the same time. But is that obviously this isn't working?
No.
Everybody hates this. One
Except
thing
for Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin loves it, but other than him,
I'm sure he did. Yeah, I know he did say that. So, and for those who might think Evan's being facetious, he's not.
no, Mike Tomlin came out and said that it's the correct rule and the correct call.
Yeah.
A coach who once tripped an opposing player as he ran down the sideline. Just want to point that out.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's so true.
But I mean, at the same time, so looking at the opposing sideline is not appropriate. And again, what I'm about to say, I am not against. I'm saying this now. What I'm about to bring up as an example, I think should happen. I'm not against it. But if a team recovers a fumble or gets an interception, the entire team runs into the end zone and poses like guys come off the sideline to be part of the celebration.
Right.
Weren't even on the freaking field. There's like 19 of them down there with a football. That's fine. But looking at the other team, taking 5 steps and looking at the other team's sideline is a penalty without saying anything or gesticulating. What are we doing here? Like, what is going on?
Oh my God, he said a naughty word. How do you emotionally? From what
I was listening to a Boomer Esiason talk on the Parkins show here in the Score. And he said that what he thought this whole rule came out of is the fact that last year they were playing football games in stadiums that were empty. So all the things that were said on the field were being picked up by the mics.
That's
and
okay. Okay.
And so they were spending a ton of time with the audio. There was a delay because they had to basically strip all of the things the players were saying in the field out because you could hear it all. And that was the impetus for what happened. And there was in the world.
Interesting.
But this rule is dumb. This rule is basically like someone flipped a bat, so I'm going to peg him in the ear with a baseball. Dumb.
The thing that also too, that the NFL, and I think as much as we shit on the NFL, there is something that they always try to improve. You know, with each year, you know, they tweak, they do try to do things with the rules committee and whatnot. But I wish they could do it sort of live as it's happening. They're probably going to look at this next year. It's going to be a little different, I hope. But they're not going to say in week 9, you know what, we screwed up.
I understand they're not going to say that, but they say they screwed up on stuff all the time. They may not say they screwed up on the rule. They can always say this is not the correct interpretation of this rule. And Tony Crenti, by the way, is 69 years old. He's been doing this for 25 years. Retire.
Yeah, but he's only been doing this one for 1 year. I don't know. I mean, either way, when you're, what the hell is he doing? Sort of like interjecting himself in front of another player. Why? What's his mindset? Like that, I can't for the life of me figure out.
And he's going to get away scot-free with it. Like he initiated intentional contact with a player he then called a flag on.
The best referees are the ones we don't know their names.
Right.
Whatever. That's a good way to end. That was pretty damn ugly. More self-promotion to close off, if I could.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, buy my book.
Yeah, buy his book.
Buy my book. Chavo Guerrero, instant classic, the story of Chavo Guerrero Sr. I think it's good. I'm a little bit biased because I wrote it, but Chavo himself liked it. Well, he helped write it. Well, he wrote it. I just helped. Yeah, either way, we both liked it.
It's good place to start. At least you liked it. I mean,
I did.
Hitchcock's second film he ever made is lost to history, and he was glad about it because he hoped nobody would ever see it again. He thought it was that bad. So
it's like Michael Caine said about Jaws too. I never saw the film or heard it wasn't that good, but the house it bought me was really good. I like that. That's not quite how he said it.
There was that thing before Kevin Spacey was ejected into the sun. He was on Fallon, and he did Wheel of Impressions. Mm-hmm. and he got Michael Caine talking about, I can't remember, something to do with Halloween. And so he didn't, it was actually Jimmy got it. And then he went to him and he said, I'll tell you about Michael Caine. I once met Michael Caine. I said, how did you manage to make so many movies? He goes, when I make a movie, I look at the script. My character's on the first page, and if my character's on the last page, I do the fucking movie.
Sounds like something he would say.
Yeah. I get a big comfortable chair. I get a nice glass of scotch. Look at the first page. I look at the last page. My character's both pages. I do the fucking movie.
Love it.
So that was very, I have no idea if that's true, but it's a very good Michael Caine story. So
Absolutely. Also, too, we just shot another how the hell did this go to number one? Andrea Chessman and I, we looked at Honey by Bobby Goldsboro.
I feel like I know that one.
No, you don't want to know this one. It is.
I think I do know that one though.
But we had a special guest for that one.
Was it Bobby Goldsboro?
It was not Bobby Goldsboro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was Fonda Bryant, the daughter of Johnny Taylor, who, so we did it sort of a 2-for-1 because Johnny Taylor went number one with Disco Lady. And Fonda told a great story about how she fought Sony and won for back royalties. So that's actually one of those cool things for that. So I was really happy to have Fonda on that. So
cool.
That's pretty much what we've got going on. There'll be a lot more in my network. Do we have a network? I guess kind of, sort of.
We just need a jingle. As soon as you get a jingle, you have a network, like 3 tones.
Damn it. I don't know. I'm going to think about it.
Just find 3 tones somewhere. There you go. 3 tones.
Beautiful. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stay safe, everybody.
All right. Take care, guys.